right? So I don't know what your experience has been on Earth, but I feel like I had really big ones, like my mom dying when I was very young, who I was saying to you, you have the same eyes as her. What a pleasure to be able to see her eyes when I haven't since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
And except for that, now I have a daughter who has her eyes
Incredible.
too. And it's like, oh. But that happened. And then her mom died 2 weeks later. And then everyone else died. And then my daughter died of sudden infant death syndrome. And then my house burnt down. And my best friend hung himself. And my dad died of a heart attack. And I was a heroin addict.
Wow.
And I did a bunch of heroin and cocaine to try to kill all the pain that I just described to you. But at the end of the day, none of that worked. I needed to actually do what life was calling me to do, right? So I became a famous spiritual teacher.
Yeah.
And you would think that would be the end of the story, right? It's like, oh, well.
Happily ever after.
And happily ever after. She won the lotto of life. She's making lots of money, being flown all over the globe and, you know, written up in every magazine and has a best-selling book and blah, blah, blah. Forget about the fact that it all got a lot better from there. I am so relaxed. You know, I don't feel like I need to decompress from the compression. I don't need to, like, I am all out. I feel the same with you as I do with Russell. I feel the same with Russell as I do with a man in the street or the guy in my lobby at the hotel I'm staying in. I feel the same. Or if I go to a fancy party, I feel like I'm in my pajamas.
Right.
And that comes from me feeling holistically that my enlightenment is not contingent on how well my day is going. It's not contingent on how perfect I am. It's not contingent on those things because I've redefined what enlightenment is.
We're here in a field in Wales. I'm wearing Wellington boots and I'm here with the exquisite, the lovely, the amazing, the talented, the heart-opening Biet Simkin, everyone. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
What do you want to talk about? What's your experience of life? What's your experience of this journey that we call life?
It varies. I think that's kind of the thing that I like to share with people is that it has variables, you know, because we get really selective, I think, as people. We want it all to be one thing. And especially, you know, it can be really painful because people who are leaders and people who are very successful have often historically come to a stage and made it seem as though it's easy or made it seem as though they're not, well, they were once this thing, but now they're this thing, right? And so my experience is that it's mixed and that it doesn't go away, that the heartache and the fear and the panic and the sadness and the romance and the death that's impending at any moment is imbued into the architecture of life until we die. And so I try to help people to see that and not run from it, not try to like evolve beyond it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many patchwork, so many different people with different remedies or ways in which we can overcome grief, but you're saying that it's always an underlying tone, it's always there, and you have to learn to live with that.
No, I'm not saying live with it. I'm saying like have sex with it,
Wow.
dance with it, be with it, like use it as your medicine, take it as a fascinating pill. You know, there was like the beans and the beanstalk,
Yeah.
right? So it's like the beans are the grief, but you got to eat them if you want to grow the beanstalk and go to heaven. And people, what they do is they see the beans and then they stomp on them, or they try to fix it, or they take Zoloft so they won't feel the beans, or they snort some heroin so they don't see the beans, or they someone or break up with someone or endlessly break up with people or whatever. And the point is that all you need to do is eat the fucking beans. And then you get the beanstalk, and then you go to heaven. So it's like heaven is part of, but how did you get to heaven, they say. And I say, well, I took the and I went with it. I went with it.
That sounds scary.
Does
I don't know
it?
if I'm ready for that work.
Come on.
You must have been through quite a journey to have come to that conclusion. When did that, I mean, that sounds like a resounding conclusion.
Yeah.
Where you're pretty certain, I mean, I'm sitting opposite you and I can see that you're convinced that this is your truth.
Sure.
Was there a moment where you went, this is it? Was there perhaps a traumatic moment where you felt, this is my conclusion of how I feel, I'm gonna reach that heaven or whatever it is?
I think it was like thousands of traumatic moments over and over, some very, very big, and then some very small, right? So I don't know what your experience has been on Earth, but I feel like I had really big ones, like my mom dying when I was very young, who I was saying to you, you have the same eyes as her. What a pleasure to be
wow.
able to see her eyes when I haven't since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
And except for that, now I have a daughter who has her eyes
Incredible.
too. And it's like, oh. But that happened. And then her mom died 2 weeks later. And then everyone else died. And then my daughter died of sudden infant death syndrome. And then my house burnt down. And my best friend hung himself. And my dad died of a heart attack. And I was a heroin addict.
Wow.
And I did a bunch of heroin and cocaine to try to kill all the pain that I just described to you. But at the end of the day, none of that worked. I needed to actually do what life was calling me to do, right? So I became a famous spiritual teacher.
Yeah.
And you would think that would be the end of the story, right? It's like, oh, well.
Happily ever after.
And happily ever after. She won the lotto of life. She's making lots of money, being flown all over the globe and, written up in every magazine and has a best-selling book and blah, blah, blah. But I would get on these stages and I'd be in front of thousands of people and I would be, speaking the great truth that we've all been fed our whole lives, especially people like us who are seeking and reading and digesting enlightenment and digesting all the paths to enlightenment, and irradiating that truth back to people. Now, on the one hand, I'm beautiful and I'm interesting and I'm funny and blah, 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 right? But on the other hand, I'm also like a lot of other things, right? I'm also flawed and I have doubts and I have fears and I have bad moments or like emails that don't get returned or rejections that hurt, or sometimes people don't treat me so nice and I get sad about that, right? But I was like, okay, I'm gonna do what all the great spiritual teachers have done before me. Get on the stage,
Get on the stage.
Teach people how to reach enlightenment, which I know how to do, but then be better than them from that place. Well, I reached enlightenment, so listen to me, follow me. And then I would get off the stage and there was this voice in my head that was just like, some of this is, maybe you shouldn't these people.
Yeah.
And after year of like feeling that feeling of the discordance of my message and the truth of who I really was, I thought, what if I pull my balls out and just show people who I truly am?
This is who I am.
Yeah, will they still follow me? Will they still buy my books?
And?
Okay, forget about the fact that it all got a lot better from there. I am so relaxed. I don't feel like I need to decompress from the compression. I don't need to, I am all out. I feel the same with you as I do with Russell. I feel the same with Russell as I do with a man in the street or the guy in my lobby at the hotel I'm staying in. I feel the same. Or if I go to a fancy party, I feel like I'm in my pajamas.
Right.
And that comes from me feeling holistically that my enlightenment is not contingent on how well my day is going. It's not contingent on how perfect I am. It's not contingent on those things because I've redefined what enlightenment is.
I think that's so important. There's a principle that's spoken in the graduate study of Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah.
And this is a verse that kind of really struck me very strongly because I'm trying to live that. When I read it, it just affirmed what I was living, which is that you should own your faults and own your pains in such a way that when people confront you with it, if you feel painful about it or you feel like trying to cover it up, that means you've not really owned it.
Yeah.
And so, if someone calls you out for not being this way or that, then, and it hurts you that, oh, why do they say I'm such a annoying person, a harsh person, rude person, whatever it is, then if it doesn't hurt you, that means you've overcome your attachment to it.
Right.
It's fine, just be honest and open about your faults, open and honest about how you're not perfect. How you said, get your balls out.
Get your balls out. Wait, so why did you say you're not ready for this when you are embodying it yourself?
I think to the nth degree, maybe I'm just not as vocative about it as you are.
Okay.
I'm open book as far as my experience of life is. I'm trying to be open book.
Yeah.
But I think it's a British thing. Maybe we're just we keep behind our tidy doors until we feel, here's someone I can do it with. Because I think there's the British culture, and my experience of it is we're quite timid people.
Yeah.
If you tell, I often do this in Kirtan, where I'd say, turn to the person next to you and just give them a smile, tell them hello. They just feel really awkward about that. It's Americans. I don't know whether it's in the culture. Do you think it's in the culture?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
We're similar.
Yeah.
I think we're just similar to the Brits in a lot of ways, of course.
Cool. Having children.
Yes.
Being a teacher. How do you navigate it? How do you manage it? I've got kids, I'm trying to work it out.
You
so,
do?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's intense, no?
It's so crazy
Yeah.
and also delicious.
Delicious.
It is the best
I
thing
like
that's
that.
ever happened to me.
Delicious.
What did you say?
I said I like that. Delicious.
delicious.
I've never had it described as delicious.
I just want to eat them
Yeah.
all day. I mean,
Oh,
they're
okay,
so
kids.
freaking beautiful.
I thought the experience of parenthood is delicious. I've never had
It
it
is
described.
delicious.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
I mean, it's like the sweetest. Honestly, I have no time to really think about myself, which is phenomenal for an addict like myself. But also, I mean, they're crazy making, right? Like it's the worst parts of me. Like if you want to see me on a stage at the the community festival, I am one Biet. I just got off like a plane. Went to the hotel, my beautiful hat, my assistant with me like carrying my little umbrella, and everybody's like, "Can you sign my book?"
Yes.
Yes, of course, You should see me when my kid has just asked me for the 15th or 16th thing that she asked me. They're like request monsters,
Yeah.
She's like, "Can I have a milk time? Can I watch Spider-Man? But I want this. You said that I could have the cookie. You said, Mommy."
This sounds familiar.
And then they fall on the floor. You want to hear a cool story?
I want to hear a cool story.
So Cash, my first daughter, she's 4.5, and I've been watching her on the surveillance camera. It's called Nanit, so I'm
I
like
know
in
Nanit, yeah.
England, and
Yeah.
I'm watching the baby, but like the baby crib, but she was freaking out. Cash, so the older one, and she ran into the playroom right next to where the crib is, and she just started sobbing and screaming, I never, she said, I never, and then she was just crying and crying and crying, and I watched her, and she did that, and then all of a sudden she just stopped, got up, and started playing her little guitar.
She self-corrected?
She like self-regulated herself.
Self-regulated,
Right?
yeah.
And I just was so proud. I was
Wow.
like, and then another time, I've never taught my child how to meditate. I just meditate in front of her.
Yeah, that's the way.
That's the way, right? So one day, she got really upset in the living room, as they will, they'd have tantrums, right? So she ran out of the living room with a tantrum, ran into the bedroom, "Ah!" And then all of a sudden I heard nothing. But I was like, whatever, who cares? Because they have tantrums so often you just kind of blot it out after a while. And then I walked to the bathroom for some reason, and I walked past the bedroom. My child is sitting in full lotus pose with her hands like this,
Wow.
meditating. And I said, what are you doing? And she
Yeah.
was just like, Mommy, I was upset, and this makes things better, right? And I said, yeah, it does. Feel better? And she was like, I do. I was like, what the?
And she wasn't looking for a photo op or anything, just like,
I mean, I made it into a photo op because I was like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on right now? But she doesn't know what a photo op is.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
4,
wow. You said you're addicted. What to?
I mean, I was addicted to alcohol, heroin,
Substances,
cocaine,
right.
mushrooms, acid.
Wow.
Oh my God, I loved every drug available.
Now?
I've been sober for 15 years.
Wow. Conscious choice?
I don't think it was a choice. I don't feel like it was a choice. I remember being like, I don't want to give up drinking. And, I remember the people who helped me get sober were like, you can't drink. And I was like, but I was a drug addict. Like, why can't I drink a little?
It's a level way lower.
Yeah, I was like, I could drink a little, right?
Right.
And even when I got sober, I remember my doctor saying to me, he was like my OBG, and he was like, you don't even have a little brandy? And I was like, no, I'm sober. And he was like, that's a little extreme, don't you think? And I was like, I was a heroin addict, right? But it's like, you don't put those pieces together. Anyway, the point is, I did not want to get sober. I wanted to be a scandalous, confused, lost artist for the rest of my life. But something inside me and something above me and all around me wanted something else for me, something different. And what I did was I fell to my knees and I just said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think you should run this show from now on. So you just tell me what to do. And I've been hearing it my whole life, this voice. I just told it to go f itself,
Yeah.
right? So I just said, you tell me what to do, I will do it. And it said, you are a spiritual teacher, you are meant to teach the world. It said, you're meant to marry that man, and like revealed him in the rain to me in the mist of New York City. Said,
Romantic.
yeah, it was really romantic.
Wow. You believe in God?
My own, not
What does
you-
your own version look like?
Very lovely. Yeah, just a benevolent force that doesn't live inside of duality, right? So that force that is beyond duality. And for me, God is everything. So I don't see like bad news or sadness or death as opposite to God. I just see it as a part of the glorious experience here on Earth. Because you have to remember, this is just Earth, right? There's
Many
other
people say
planets.
this is all there is.
Well, maybe, right? But maybe there's other planets where everyone's just going around having an orgasm 24 hours a day.
Who knows? I've not experienced that, nor do I have any experience in the scripture of that. But let's go with it.
Okay, well, let's say there was a planet like that.
Yeah, okay.
If there was, I would still choose to be here.
Wow. Do you think it's because of the experience of learning that goes on here, the transformation process that goes on here? What attracts you to being here now?
I don't even see it as learning. I
Okay.
see it as deliciousness, right? So like, how would I taste the fruit of success and fame and wealth and abundance and children and delight and ocean and world travel and lovemaking? How would I taste those things if I don't also taste self-doubt, self-hatred, disconnection from my humans, feeling lonely, feeling sad, feeling lost, yearning, wanting more, not being able to find it, not knowing if I'll ever get it,
Wow.
worrying that I'll die, worrying about that, the little scar on my arm, oh, I gotta go to the doctor, what if that's cancer? Like, what? How would I be able to taste those things without, it has to exist together, they are one.
You just said the word loneliness, that triggered something for me, because something that I'm not experiencing, it's not that I'm experiencing loneliness, please don't now have the sympathy belt on me, but it's something that I'm noticing more and more is the need for recognizing that what won't work is just throwing tons of people around you. This experience of crowded loneliness. You could be surrounded by so many hundreds of people, but still feeling that no one really quite understands me. And that's something that, not that I've experienced so much, I've tasted it,
Yeah.
but I know many people experience that. We have thousands of people connected with us globally, on the phone, friends that we know that if we just reach out, they will be there for us, but still in our little nucleus, there's this experience of crowded loneliness. Do you have any words of wisdom or ways in which we can overcome, or, yeah, what would you say? Loneliness, crowded loneliness.
I mean, I think loneliness, I've been given some loneliness in my life, sometimes in eras. Like I remember there was a period where I was so lonely for 2 years, somewhere in my early 20s. But it was almost like I was being put through some kind of like a osmosis, like I was being born something. And I just think of loneliness as some kind of very great gift, in a way. Again,
Yeah.
all things are, like if you just stop being afraid of things and you say, what if this is good? What if there's a messenger inside this loneliness? What if there's a
Wow.
message inside this loneliness? And instead of running from it or fixing it or trying to solve it,
Leaning into it?
you actually you said yes to this. Yes, I am so lonely. And I find that there's a like balm inside of the word yes. When I say yes to what is, it's like it transforms right in front of me. It's like that book Rumpelstiltskin, It's like, say the name, say Rumpelstiltskin, and everything changes, right? So if I say loneliness, most people, as soon as they feel loneliness, they're so filled with horror about that. Another one is shame.
Shame.
We don't like shame.
Shame on us. We're talking about shame.
Worry, we don't love that one either.
But just saying yes to it.
Yes, like, yes, I'm feeling worried, or like,
What is this trying to teach me?
but not even that. It's like, just, yeah. What if there's nothing wrong with the fact that I feel this lonely right now? What if it's working for me? What if it's on my side?
Right. What if it's on my side?
Yeah.
That's a whole different experience of life right there. What if it's on my side? Not why is this happening to me? Not what is this trying to teach me?
Right.
But what if this is on my side?
Amen. What if it's on my side?
What's going on for you personally in your life right now in terms of your spiritual connection, in terms of that which is maybe not what you want it to be? I'm looking for some vulnerability.
Yeah, sure. Let's see. My path has been one that's unfolding like molasses. So it's been extremely painful for me to not yet be a New York Times bestseller. And watching the waves of, there's moments when the doubt is ruling me, which, like I said, I say yes to today. I'm like, oh yeah, bring it. I even like sometimes dance or dance naked while thinking and feeling into my own shame, my own doubt, and that feeling like, what if I never get that? What if that wasn't even what they just told me that was going to be the thing that happens? And so I did all this stuff, and then at the end I'm just this loser. Oof, that's one of them. You know, I think that's my main one, because my vision has always been to really create giant impact. And so, and I do sometimes, one of my lovely flaws is to compare and despair. So I'll look at people who are affecting millions, and I look at my numbers and I'm like, I'm not at millions yet. And while that may be funny from here, when it hits me, you know, it really actually turns me into my 4-year-old on the floor going, I'll never pursue my greatness. I'll just give up. But I last for like, 5 minutes, an hour, and then I do all these amazing practices, which I teach, and I just lean into them, and honestly, my day becomes ambrosia, right? But,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to be as honest as that. Bam! That was epic.
Thank you.
If you could share with the world a message that you felt was really necessary right now in the plane of life that we're experiencing,
Yeah.
what do you think that would be? If you had a microphone to millions.
Yes.
If you had a microphone to millions, not to say you don't already,
Yeah.
but what would that be? Because, we've been on the main stage here at this festival. We've had the opportunity to share something that's clearly an opportunity to affect change. What would be kind of what would be that message for those people?
I would say that the greatest relief I've ever found in this earth was being able to do what I just did, vulnerably share my absolute most cringy secrets from a place of stages, thousands of people, your podcast, which is going to reach a lot of people, and I just totally made myself look bad in front of everyone, right? Because I think this idea that enlightenment is goal-oriented is an old paradigm. We need a new paradigm where enlightenment is always moving. I want to go through the wheel of enlightenment every single day. I want to find enlightenment. I want to lose enlightenment. I want to fall to my knees. There's this beautiful painting, and this is from the Hindu tradition. I don't remember which goddess it is.
I'm switching on now.
Yeah. I totally don't know which goddess it is. I'm so sorry. I'm like, that's how I teach. I'm like, I don't know, but blah.
So you're honest is like super amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so maybe you know the story. You probably like pick up and take it.
Yeah, that's it.
So she's holding a robe around her.
Draupadi.
A Draupadi, yeah. And she's doing this, right? Yeah, so you know the story.
Yeah.
Why did I even talk about this?
Because we're talking about your message to the millions, and you're saying, yeah, let it all out. Put it on the table.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of like she's holding on to that, right? And there's a part of us that holds on to the robe.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, I always thought enlightenment was the moment when you let go of the robe, put both hands up and say, God, help me. Please, I know that you're magic. I believe in you. I'm done trying myself. But what I've learned, and this is my message to millions of people, is that part of what makes me gorgeous is that I hold on to my robe sometimes. Sometimes I'm fearful, and I don't let the gods help me. I'm fearful, and I'm small, and I'm tiny, and I'm competitive, and I'm ugly, and I'm gross, and I'm like this, like the hunchback of Notre Dame. And when you learn to see that both of those parts of you, this one, and this one, and this one, they're all faces of your enlightenment, then you don't have to keep being like, oh God, they're gonna see me, and that I haven't done this, but I bet you I'll do this in 2 hours, Radhika. And then 4 hours from there, I'll do this. And 4 hours from there, I'll do this. And then another 4 hours later, I'll do this. And that's enlightenment. Instead of being just this, that's so fucking boring.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Lofty.
Screaming at my kid, like, be seen in all your ugliness. And then be seen in all your glory. Brag.
Don't hide the glory.
Yeah.
Don't hide the ugliness.
Show it all.
Yeah.
And I think people actually are afraid to show both. Like they don't brag enough. They're like, I'm okay.
Yeah, it's almost fashionable just to brag about this moment.
Right.
Right now we're in that place. Right now it's like, oh no, they're really authentic. They're being open table about their hurts, their trauma, their whatever they're holding on to. But at the same time, we've been here, we've seen leaders, spiritual leaders doing this,
Right.
and people have turned off from that. And I think there is a via medium of both.
There
I think
is.
that's beautiful. I think that's incredible, actually. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
10 years from now,
Yeah.
New York bestseller.
Yes.
Any other aspirations? Anything that you're aiming for in the next 10 years? Maybe there's someone listening to this that will go, hey, I could help Biet with it. I like what she's doing. I'm in that area. I could help her.
Amazing.
What would you want? What would be your wish list?
Oh, I have it so clear.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I wish I had it that clear.
Really?
No, I don't have it that clear.
I can help you get clear.
Please.
Happily, happily. So, my music is scoring films. I'm winning Emmys and Oscars for the soundtracks of films and television. I've performed and guided meditations at the Super Bowl and performed my music as the scoring event at that. New York Times bestseller, travel all over the world to speak and guide millions of people, books, lectures, sound experiences, recording records in the woods with friends.
Let's do that.
Let's do it. None of it is now or then, right?
Yeah.
It's 10 years from now, it's 2 minutes from now.
Yeah, 2 minutes from now. What would be your kind of advice, thoughts, sharings on people who are aspiring for something in this world,
Yeah.
but don't know the next step?
Pray.
Pray.
Get on your knees and beg. Just say, I don't know what I'm doing. I admit it. Please show me. And then don't act like you don't hear the voice in your head. There's a voice, and it's saying little things. Move out of your parents' house. Stop dating that person. Maybe you shouldn't do that heroin tonight. Maybe you shouldn't have that coffee. I don't know what the it's saying, but it's saying things, little things. And if you just fine-tune yourself to hear that small voice, and the tractor that's joining us for the podcast.
The tractor in the background. We love it all. It's been incredible talking to you. I love how open book you are. I'm praying to be that version of myself also one day. And I think that your message is going to be received loud and clear by millions of people. And I love how when you were speaking about the 10-year dream, it wasn't, I wish, it's I am, I have, I am. And yeah, I'd love for you to share with me offline how I can do that too.
Oh,
yeah?
Happily.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. Quick fire question.
Yep.
If everyone had to wear a particular type of clothing, what would it be and what color?
Like some weird world where we're all like, oh,
Yeah.
like. It's amazing. I'm gonna go with white. I think we should all wear white. I also love that whole like
I'm wearing black in
touch
total.
of
My
red.
God.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know which religion or whatever faction does
Do you have
that.
a favorite color and why?
More a color other than
Like
white.
red. Why red?
I'm really into pink.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can see. Dusty.
I like pink. Wait, why are you saying that they should all wear pink?
Yeah.
Totally, but it's better for photos, the white.
Ah, white.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm totally not wearing the right thing right now.
I'm not either. I'm wearing green. Like
That's
I look
great.
like I'm about to go chop some logs or something.
Lumberjack Biet.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Biet. It's been an honor, a privilege sharing the space with you. Let's do something cool together. Summer's coming.
So we shall. We are
Thank you.
doing something cool together.
We are doing something cool together.
No,
Let's
I'm
just-
saying speaking into the future.
Oh.
We are doing something cool together.
Thank you all so much for joining us on this episode of For Soul's Sake. If you've enjoyed it, go and check out Biet, Guided by Biet on Instagram. She's got a ton of content that's out there that you'll really, really enjoy. I can't wait to share with you our next guest on For Soul's Sake. Please keep it real, open book. Maybe this week is the week that you open up that vulnerability, open up the opportunity to be this and this. Looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Namaste.
For soul's sake, for soul.